Number 13 of these videos, things surrounding. This is called Ward number 1 of Greensburg. We'll see two different patent tracts that happen to intrude on this area. Patent tracts are the first transaction from the state of Pennsylvania to an individual, making property legal. Up here was Hawksworth, Conrad Hawk's property. Hawksworth has the word worth in it. Worth in the Old English system was the idea of a place that somebody would have a dwelling and farm, and they'd put a fence around it, and that would be a worth. Now down here, this patent tract was issued to Matthew Miller in 1769. He held on to it until about 1783, when he sold it to Ludwick. Otterman was thought of as one of the founders of the town. William Jack had this tract over here called Urania. And if you wonder where the street called Urania got its name, well, it comes from William Jack's patent tract. This purple one was Christopher Truby. He called it Seat of Justice because he had an intention of founding a town which would be the county seat. These three fellows, Otterman, Jack, and Truby, are thought of as the founders of the town. Just this little bit was known as the town of Greensburg. 1799, there was a census, and there were only 92 taxables, most of them men, but there were actually between 200 and 300 people, but only 92 of them were people that they could tax. Now, Conrad Hawk had his place up here, and it wasn't in the town. This shows Conrad Hawk's tract and the larger city of Greensburg. Now, he built that on his property. He was known as the first person to have driven a covered wagon from the east coming out to the west on the Nemacolin Trail. It's now known as the Pennsylvania Turnpike. He also was instrumental in helping fight off the Indians during the Revolution, when the British were stirring up the Indians against the pioneer settlers. He's recorded out at the fort out at around the Herald settlement. This is Main Street coming down, once known as the road from Puckadee. This red line is the Pennsylvania Railroad, and I just put these in to help you see how Conrad Hawk's tract fit in with the town. We do move now. This is the Pennsylvania Railroad, and we go back to 1867. And we are taking a look at Mudtown. Yes, I said Mudtown. This is, well, Pennsylvania Avenue, or actually probably more like Harrison Avenue now. This is College Avenue now. And at that point, there was no tunnel under the railroad. This little house, right here, it was a log house. Believe it or not, it's still with us. It was up around here on the Patton tract. Route 130 going out of town, Liberty Street, on this corner, Liberty and College Avenue, this little house. It's obvious that it was once a store, but before that, it was a log house. Another view from out on College Avenue. We're moving west a bit. We see a house that was built by Will Stokes. It was Ludwick Otterman's property before that. He got it from a guy named Matthew Miller, who had patented the tract. And when the railroad was being built, it had been through a number of owners, and Will Stokes bought it. He built that house. After Will Stokes moved on, after the Civil War, it was in 1882, the Sisters of Charity bought the place, the whole tract, 200 acres about. And this was their mother house at the very beginning. This was the whole of Seton Hill when the place first started out. That's the tract it was on. This is what we're looking at as Will Stokes' property that became the mother house of Seton Hill when they first moved there in 1882. We go to 1901. The railroad is there. That's Ludwick over here. This was Will Stokes' mansion. In 1854, he subdivided some of his property and called it Ludwick. That was the origin of the town of, it was originally a town on its own, but it's not anymore. The big buildings of Seton Hill are now over here. You notice Stokes Street coming in. That was the original entrance to Seton Hill because there was no road coming from down below because the tunnel wasn't there yet. That wasn't there until 1910. That's the mansion of Will Stokes, which the sisters in 1884 put on a mansard roof and built a tower out here. That's the best shot of that building I could find. It's called St. Mary's. Nice old Victorian structure. And over the years, Seton Hill has done this to it. At least it's still there. We can't say that they did very much to it, but it's totally disguised. I can't help wondering what Will Stokes would think of it if he could see it now. Anyhow, it's still used, and the sisters still remember it as the place where the Sisters of Charity moved to when they came from Altoona. That's about enough for now. I'm going to say so long. and we'll see you again. Bye.